Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel if you've been a subscriber waiting for video for a long time, because I've kind of always dipped in and out of trying to do regular YouTube videos and never quite been able to commit to it. But I'm hoping that as of 2019, with a dedicated space and some more time to put into it, I'm going to try to do at least weekly videos, but throughout January as close to daily videos as possible. So my plan at the time of filming this is to bring you as close to daily videos, I'm going to say as close to daily videos, but daily videos throughout January, to try and encourage you to practice 30 days of yoga back to back consecutively. So if you are somebody that has always wanted or intended to try yoga for the first time, or to practice more than once or twice a week, then I'm hoping that this January series will suit you right down to the ground. 15 minutes every day, a kind of vinyasa flow style practice, but I will try and make it as mixed ability as possible. So if you're coming to this for the very first time, I'll talk you all the way through the alignment, the setup, and if you are someone coming back to it or that already practices with me on a weekly basis, it will be familiar and you can push harder in places if you want to. And I'm hoping that this dog is going to get off my yoga mat so that I can help you move through our practice today. So we are going to begin in sitting, and for some reason all animals just seem to be attracted to people doing yoga, but I promise this wasn't planned. Okay, so we'll start in a cross-legged position. Now if you're someone that's quite tight in the hips, prop yourself up on yoga blocks if you have them, or a couple of pillows. Even my knees here are up a little bit, we won't stay too long, but if your knees are quite high up, then being propped up just allows your knees to drape towards the floor and let your hip flexors relax. So as we start here, just allow your eyes to close. It's just a short practice, so we won't take too much time in stillness, but it is important to really ground and get present. And we do so by just finding the simplicity of the breath. So taking nice deep inhales through the nose and long relaxing exhalations. And so our breath is directly linked to the nervous system. So as soon as we start to slow the breath, we start to calm the nervous system, and in so doing, we slow down the thinking mode of the mind. So we're just looking to try and clear the thoughts slightly. They'll always be there ticking over, but we're just looking to clear our heads and just prep ourselves for our movement practice today. So the aim is to link the breath with the movement, but if it's your first time ever practicing, don't worry too much. This will start to feel more natural after a few times getting used to the movements. So if you did go with eyes closed, just blinking them open, and we'll start warming into the spine here. So as you inhale, stretch the arms up, and as you exhale, just start to lean over to the right, take a look up towards the ceiling, and just turn the chest open, extend out through the fingertips. And then just finding an easy way to flow with the breath to start with. Let your next inhalation bring you up and over. Move in time with the exhales, you lean to the other side. So just stretching through the side of the body. And so my plan is to post this on the 1st of January 2019 for the first time. Inhale your way to center, and then exhale to fold forward. So if you had a bit of a busy evening, this practice will hopefully be a gentle way to ease yourself into your 2019 intentions. Rolling up through the spine, take the hands behind you, and just inhale, puff the chest up, draw the shoulders back. So we just find a slight back bend here. And then when you're ready, either roll over your shins or spin around on your bum. We'll find our way to all fours. So the vinyasa are linking movements, a lot of pushing up and pushing down. So we'll just warm into the wrists here as you start to spread the fingers, grip the finger pads into the floor. Inhale, dip the belly, lift the chest, so we keep moving through the spine. And as you exhale, round through the spine, tuck the chin in. Just one more like this. Inhale, lift the chest, tilt the bum up. Exhale, rounding forward, pushing down into the floor. So as you inhale, come back to neutral, extend through the crown of the head. Then on the exhale, we'll just come into a modified vinyasa, so lowering like a half press up for Chaturanga Dandasana. Release all the way to your tummy, release the toes. Inhale, peel the chest up, shrug the shoulders back for Cobra pose. And as you exhale, just tuck the toes and sit the bum back to the heels for a couple of breaths. So Child's Pose, you can use this to skip the vinyasa movements completely or just to take a rest at any point in any of our practices that we do here. So we'll do 2 more rounds like that and we'll just continue to build on our intensity and heat. So as you breathe in, round forward through the spine, come to all fours, extend the chest. Exhale, lower slowly to your tummy. Release the toes. Inhale, peel the chest up, Cobra pose. Keep the thighs, strong toes pushing down into the floor. Exhale, this time tuck the toes, push the seat back to the heels and then extend the hips all the way up to the ceiling. So just a few breaths in our first downward dog. You can take any movements that feel intuitive for you here to start to open up. So pedaling the feet maybe, or if you want to turn the hips from side to side. We're just still warming up through the side of the body, warming up the muscles of the arms. Allow the head to dangle heavy so the muscles of your neck and shoulders can just start to soften slightly. And then we'll continue to just ease our way into our vinyasa movements. So we'll do 1 full variation. Inhale, roll forward through the spine, extend into a plank pose. Now keep everything strong and engaged. So tummy stays strong, arms are hugging towards each other, thighs are strong. Take an inhale breath here, and as you exhale, let the chest extend forward as you lower like a press up again, all the way down to your belly. Inhale, so we can stay low with Cobra pose as we've been doing, or use the hands to pull and drag you forward, push the arms straight as you come up into upward facing dog. Exhale, let the tummy muscles draw you back into downward facing dog. Taking just 2 more full breaths here. If that felt intense, or if you felt like your lower back was dipping at all as you moved into plank pose, then you can modify as we started. So inhale, come forward to plank pose. To modify, just drop your knees and exhale, slowly lower. Inhale to Cobra or upward facing dog, roll the shoulders back. Exhale to downward facing dog. So this upside down V shape, continuously trying to push the hips back, the thigh bones back, looking for length and space through the spine. When you're ready from here, using an inhale breath to kick the right heel to the sky behind you, and then just start to turn the hip open so this leg faces the right side of the room, and then bending the knee. So bend the knee, stack the hip. Keep squaring the chest towards the floor. On your next inhale, kick the legs straight back. And as you breathe out, step the foot forward between the hands. Inhale here, lifting the chest. Exhale, back foot steps into your first forward fold. Staying with the breath, allow the head to dangle, let the weight of the arms just hang heavy. Keep a bend at your knees if you're quite tight in the hamstrings or the lower back. When you're ready from here, soften at the knees if you're not already, and just rolling up through the spine, bone by bone at the head, be the last thing to come up. Once you're fully standing, inhale, circle the arms up overhead and lengthen, and exhale to fold forward, pivot at the hips as you come down. Inhale to halfway lift, keep fingertips to floor, hands to the shins, and exhale to fold. So just a couple more like that so we can flow with the breath. Inhale, halfway lift up and lengthen, proud chest. Exhale, squeeze the tummy muscles as you fold in. Last one, inhale to halfway lift up. Exhale, place the palms and step your way to downward facing dog. Inhale, kick the left heel to the sky behind you. Turn the leg to face the left side of the room. Keep pushing the floor away with the hands. And then if it's comfy, bend this knee and continue to turn the hip open like you're trying to kick the right bum cheek with your left heel. Notice if you've lost the breath or if you became breathless in the last round, just try to slow the breath
as you find downward dog. Inhale, kick the left heel to the sky behind you, and exhale, step the foot forward between the hands. Inhale to lift the chest, exhale to step in. This time, inhale, halfway lift up like we did at the end of the last round. Exhale to fold. Inhale, this time we'll come to stretch all the way up, and exhale, coming forward. Inhale, halfway lift up and lengthen. Exhale, stepping your way back to plank pose. Pause here for the inhale breath. Draw everything into the midline, into your spine. Exhale, lower down with the knees up or down, your choice. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhaling back, downward facing dog. Taking 5 deep breaths here. Good, so we'll start to get a little bit more dynamic now. When you're ready, turn the left heel down so the back foot is 45 degrees to the back of your mat. Inhale, step the right foot forward, let the arms rise up, coming into warrior one. Keep squaring the body towards the front of the room at the same time, grounding down through the outside edge of the back foot. Stay for one more inhale breath, and as you exhale, we'll move through a vinyasa. So through plank, down to chaturanga. Inhale, pushing your way into your chosen back bend, and exhale, taking downward facing dog. Coming straight to the left side, turning the right heel down. Inhale, step the left foot forward, let the arms rise up. You can bring the palms together to add more intensity on the shoulders. Stay for one more inhale breath. And then exhale to release you all the way down through that press up motion. So if you're feeling a little bit stronger, you can find this hover just above the ground. And then inhale to push yourself through into your back bend. So it feels more like a push up and builds a little bit more strength. Exhaling back to downward dog, or take a rest in child's pose if you need to. Good, from here we'll just walk the feet forward to the hands. And find our way to a little chair pose. So as you inhale, bend the knees and extend the arms forward and up. Palms can be apart if you're a little tighter in the shoulders. Or you can bring the palms together like we did in Warrior One. So I'll use Kali Mudra, and this mudra where you're kind of interlacing the fingers and pointing the index finger allows you to just get that little extra squeeze of the elbows towards each other, looking up to the thumbs. Keep engaging the lower belly, puffing the chest towards the sky. So really strong on the back muscles and the core muscles. Stay for one more inhale breath, and then exhale, folding forward. Inhale, halfway lift up, lengthen. Exhale, step, or if you want to practice jumping now, weight forward into the hands, and you can practice a little jump back to chaturanga if you want to have that extra intensity. Finishing the round in downward facing dog. 5 breaths here, or resting in child's pose if you need a break. Good, so one more standing round, and then we'll come into some more core work and stretching out before we finish our really short practice today. So when you're ready, Warrior One on the right side, turn the back heel down and inhale to step the right foot forward, extend and reach out through the fingertips. Let an exhale bring you back down through your vinyasa. Inhale to push the chest up and through into upward facing dog, or stay in cobra if you need it slightly less intense for you on this 1st of January. Turning the right heel down, inhale, step the left foot forward, arms rise up, square the body forward, and exhale takes you back down to the floor. So remember the option to drop the knees if you need to take some effort away. Inhale, cobra or upward dog. Exhale, one can rest the heels in child's pose or coming back to downward facing dog. Last time on the right side, inhale, right foot comes forward, reaching up, Warrior One. This time we'll move into Humble Warrior, so interlace the hands behind the back, puff the chest up, so you're opening the shoulders. Stay for one more inhale breath. Keep trying to square the hips to the front of the room. And on an exhale, start to dive the chest forward. So if you're slightly tighter in the hips and the lower back, you may stay here, just above the front thigh. If you're a little bit more spacious in those joints, the torso folds forward inside the front knee. From here, we'll find our way into a little play on lizard pose. So hands placed to the floor inside the front foot. We'll roll onto the ball of the back foot and just heel toe that front foot off to the width of your mat. And then just to get mobile in the hip joint, rocking back and forth. From here then, can roll onto the outside edge of this front foot. So flexing the toes back towards the shin, and then allow the weight of the hips to sit down towards the floor. So to remove some of the effort from this position, you can lower the back knee and release the back foot. So whether you've gone with back knee up or down, you can explore the elbows coming to the floor or onto your pillow or block if you're kind of halfway down. It's not a necessity, it's just an option to deepen the position or deepen the stretch for you around the hip. Pressing your way back up onto the hands. If you went down onto elbows, lift the back knee and come back onto the flat side of your foot. From here, as we continue to rock backwards and forwards, we'll rock the weight forward and then just step the back foot in for Malasana. So here you might need to widen the feet, toes turning out, heels turning in, and then just start to sit the hips down towards the floor. So garland pose. And you can use your elbows pushing out against the inner thighs to deepen the stretch on the inner thighs. Just trying not to rotate at the knees at all. And then we can use this as a place to come into our first practice of crow pose, one of our beginner arm balances in yoga. So I'll teach it as if I've never taught it before, but I do have an older tutorial on it, and there are plenty on YouTube. So your hands will be placed at shoulder width apart, fingers spread nice and wide. Hug the elbows in and let them bend like chaturanga, like that tricep press up we do in our vinyasa. So then you've got the shelf for your knees to rest upon. Finger pads grip into the floor. And then if you're new to it, just play with, for today, rocking the weight into one toe, lifting the other foot. And same on the other side, just coming up to balance on the set toes and let the foot come down. If you're familiar with it, let the weight rock forward and find your way into the balance. Keep gripping into the floor with your fingertips. Now you can come out and step to downward dog, or if you're more experienced and familiar with the position, you might explore jumping back into chaturanga from here. So knees slide back, and then inhale your way into your back bend. Exhale, downward dog. So that's got me breathless. If it has for you as well, either rest in child's pose or as you're here in downward dog, we slow the breath. Gauging the lower abdominal muscles, and that allows you, as you press the chest more towards the floor, to stretch more deeply into your shoulders. Excuse me, and then we'll come one last time on the left side. So right heel turns down, inhale, step the left foot forward, coming up into warrior one. And then an exhalation takes you down to chaturanga. Inhale to pull the chest through. And exhale, downward dog or child's pose. Our last one then, and we'll have a little stretch before Shavasana. Inhale, arms to rise up, square the body forward. Keep squaring the hips, draw the elbows back, or the arms back, sorry, for humble warrior. Inhale, chest puffs up, draw the shoulders back, and exhale, start to dive forward. So staying high if you need to. Otherwise, if you have the room to go a little lower, eventually the head is coming down towards the floor. Finding lizard pose. Hands come down to the floor inside the foot, ball of the back foot, and then heel toe the front foot off to the side of your mat. Taking a few rocks backwards and forwards. Rolling onto the outside edge of the front foot. Sitting the hips towards the floor. Option to drop the back knee if you wish to take a more restful variation. Exploring the elbows maybe coming to the floor. Pressing back up onto the palms, flattening onto the sole of that front foot once more. Malasana, as we did previously, rock the weight forward and step in, widen the feet, heels turn in, toes turn out. So this time you can stay with this, or one last chance to play with crow pose if you wish. Hands come down, heel toe the feet in, hips stay high. Keep gripping the fingers into the floor, so you have the option to keep one foot down if you're new to it. Otherwise, picking up, play with the balance. Stepping out to downward dog if you need to, or if you want to jump back on this 1st of January, give it a go. Inhale, chest comes high. Exhale, take child's pose. Knees together or apart. I prefer a bit wider most of the time, just extending the arms forward. Keeping the hips grounding into the heels, and just walk both hands over to the right as we slow the breath. Heading down for relaxation before we finish. Walking the hands around the front of your mat, taking a couple of breaths with the hands reaching over to the left. Excuse me, hands walk forward. We'll come up to all fours for puppy pose. Just 4 breaths. Keep the hips stacking over the knees. Keep drawing the lower belly in. It's really easy to collapse into the lower back, but we're just looking to stretch the shoulders out here. So drawing the lower belly in, arms lock out so you can press the chest down towards the floor. Just keep some resistance of the palms pushing down into the floor as you press the chest down. Hands walk back towards you. We'll sit on the heels just to swing the feet around. Inhale, stretch and reach the arms out, flex the toes towards you. And then exhale, extend and fold forward. 5 breaths here. So, excuse me, if you're quite tight in the hamstrings, keep a bend. Same as with our standing forward bend. You can always use a strap to loop around the feet. And instead of trying to just get into the deepest forward fold possible by getting your head down and over curving through the spine, think chest proud and just keep pulling the chest forward, keep the gaze forward. As you stay a couple more breaths. Slowly rolling up through the spine. One last little boat pose to bring us down onto our backs for relaxation. So if you're building strength, and this is your first class ever, it's been a strong one, but you can stay in a supported boat pose, keeping your heels down and just starting to lean the chest back slightly. Your midway version is to lift the heels, keeping the knees bent, or the full variation is to extend the legs straight. Squeeze the thighs into the tummy, the tummy squeezes back in towards the thighs. And then preparing to lower with a big cleansing inhale breath. Exhaling slowly down through the spine, so trying to move in time with your exhale as you lower all the way down onto your back. Once you're here, wriggle out, have a fidget. If you need that one last little stretch. And then rest. Allow the eyes to close, let the legs rest wide. Shift out through the pelvis and shoulders. And just allow the muscles of the face to soften, let the body relax. And just stay for 5 more breaths if you're short on time. But if you have all the time in the world, now the work is done, stay as long as you need to. If you're staying, enjoy.
And if you're leaving with me now, thank you very much for joining me. Please support the channel by clicking the subscribe button below, and always add any comments. So my intention is for this really to be mostly towards people that probably know me already from my classes. So if it's you guys watching, then please comment any kind of videos or tutorials you want, and anyone else, thank you so much for joining me. I don't know how you found it, but thank you for finding it, and stick with me if you enjoyed the class by subscribing, and I will see you very, very soon.